And here we go again. Now, according to Afrocentric hoteps and many crazed academics and those in the media, well, the original Britons, well, they were sub Saharan African. So was Achilles. Achilles was sub Saharan African. Cleopatra was sub Saharan African. Hannibal was sub Saharan African. The Roman Emperor Septimius Severus was sub Saharan African. Queen Charlotte was sub Saharan African. Mozart was sub Saharan African. Beethoven was sub Saharan African, and the list goes on ad infinitum. But not to be outdone, now up to their same historical hijacking hijinks, it's now being said without a shred of irony that 8th century Japan was ruled over by a sub-Saharan African shogun. And no, I'm not kidding. A writer, William Spivey, from the far-left-leaning media platform, has yet again come to the same Afrocentric conclusions as we have seen for quite some time, that Africans are being whitewashed from the historical record in his new article, Where Are All the Black People in Shogun? In it, he expresses discontent about the absence of black actors in the new smash hit FX television series, which dramatizes the political intrigue of the samurai caste and their feudal lords in Japan during the year 1600. Yes, that's correct, 1600, or 424 years ago. But why am I not surprised? It's not like this is the first time that we've seen wholesale cultural appropriation by such rabidly ideological actors in the media before, right? Right? Hi everyone, just to let you know, I have some old favorites as well as new t-shirt designs on sale right now. Link to find them is in the description, and would like to thank you in advance, as it really does help the channel, as for years now, content like this has been put into an algorithmic black hole, as well as being demonetized. So thanks again, as well as I'm pretty sure you'll find something you will like. The current series is itself a remake of the 1980 Shogun miniseries, and both are based on the 15 million copy bestseller by the same name, written by James Clavell and printed in 1975, and yes, I have read the book. However, like the book and the original miniseries, well, they don't feature black characters, and thus black actors in its newest incarnation are absent. And this has prompted the Medium writer Spivey, a critical race theorist, to decry the historical accuracy and representation in the production. Spivey argues that there were indeed black people in Japan during the 1600s, even claiming that, quote, one of the early real-life shoguns, Saka no Ue no Tamarumaro, was black, though denied by others, closed quote. Now, I really have to put this Hotep revisionism into perspective. What Spivey is literally trying to say is that an 8th century Japanese shogun, which means supreme military commander, was a black African, even though his lineage is well known and is clear in the imperially commissioned Japanese historical records that the Saka no Ue's clan's family tree shows that Tamamuro Maro is a 14th generation descendant of the Emperor Ling of the Chinese Han Dynasty. But of course, none of this matters, as he then goes on to write, of course, without a source, that, quote, he is often considered descended from the Ainu, the darker-skinned indigenous people of northern Japan who were subjected to forced assimilation and colonization, closed quote. Now, about these terms, first, this was the 8th century, and these kinds of terms that are so fashionable by the ideological fanatics of the 21st century could pretty much be called, as they have throughout all of human history, as war and conquest. Now, at this point, for full disclosure, I should say to those of you that are new to my channel, which I think there will be probably zero, as YouTube has done its best to strangle it to death, that I do and have lived in Japan for some time, even though I am currently in London. But that aside, getting back, it's pretty well known that the Ainu people were, before DNA testing, well, they were described as proto-Caucasoid people, in that the Ainu people look like Caucasian people. They have white skin, they have hair that's wavy, their heads are round, and some even have gray or blue eyes. However, their blood types, as well as their dental morphology and fingerprinting, are more similar to Mongolian people rather than Caucasian people, and this is possibly through many millennia of intermixing. But they are clearly not African. Now, having dispensed of the claim that the Ainu were black Africans, well, Spivey also claims that, quote, there's a Japanese proverb that says for a samurai to be brave, he must have a bit of black blood. And if that's the case, FX monster hit Shogun has a lot of scared swordsmen. Closed quote. But I should retort, and I want to be clear about this, that this proverb is probably completely made up. Nobody in Japan seems to have heard of it, nor has it ever been in use. In fact, I'll leave a long explanation to its 19th century European origin and how it was popularized by a 20th century Afrocentrist scholar to support his theories on the supposed blackness of the Japanese and how their Africanness should be celebrated. Either way, there is no Japanese source to this proverb that Spivey throws out. Yeah, color me surprised. I would note, however, that there is fragmentary evidence of a man named Yasuke with possible African origins who appears to have lived in Japan for about 3 years from 1579 to 1582 and served as a page to the daimyo Oda Nobunaga. He was most probably brought to the country as a servant by Jesuit missionaries. It's not known, however, though, if he was a slave or a free man. However, though, getting back to the idea that Japan in the 8th century and the 16th century was an island nation filled with sub-Saharan shoguns and samurais is a stretch even for the Hotep historical revisionists. Japan was from 1603 until 1868 under a policy of strict isolationism. Relations and trade between Japan and other countries were severely limited, and nearly all foreign nationals were banned from entering the country, while common Japanese people were forbidden to leave the country. That was until, however, 1853, when American Commodore Matthew Perry forced the country to open to the outside world through a demonstration and display of his modern naval vessels and their military prowess and power. But perhaps Perry, given the record of people like Spivey and the Hotep revisionists, will at some time be reimagined as a sub-Saharan African. Nothing would surprise me at this point. Either way, in this first quarter of the 21st century, many of the Japanese are pretty much still adverse to the idea of foreigners in their country. Not that I would say they are racist per se, but so much so that many foreign people that live there encounter what is called the gaijin bubble. Now, what is that? Well, when I use public transportation, much of the time, I have free seats to the right and to the left of me, as few Japanese ever want to sit down next to a gaijin in 2024. And thus, I get to enjoy my own gaijin bubble. Thank you very much for watching. If you like this video, please check to see that you are still subscribed to this channel, as YouTube is censoring it into the ground, as well as unsubscribing people by the tens of thousands without their knowledge or consent. Also, if you'd like to help support this channel, ways of doing so are in the description. Also, check out some of that fabulous merchandise that was shown at the beginning of this video. It'd be very much appreciated. So that's the end. Thank you again, and I will see you in the next video. Bye for now.